Welcome to the American Extrusion International 2017 Health Plan Renewal. Blue Cross Blue Shield has renewed the group this year, but had proposed a number of changes that were unsatisfactory. First off, there was a request for a 16% increase in premiums, which based upon the design of payroll deductions would mean all employees would increase by 16%. There had also been a plan change that required a $20 increase in all doctor copays. At that point, we found that many times the doctor copay was approaching the cost of the actual visit. There was a $10 increase on generic drug copays, which, as many drugs cost even less than the copay today, required employees to pay more than what sometimes the drug cost. $20 increase on the preferred name brand drug had yet one more a cost shift for employees, and a $50 increase, which is quite a large increase on the non-preferred name brand drugs. So all these things were taken into account, and what we went out to study was what is the impact of the plan design as to what the out-of-pocket that most of our employees would experience. What we came up with as Huronwell was an alternative that has worked out to be better in over 70% of the occasions for employees. And in the modeling out, we were focused on, number one, lowering premiums instead of increasing them, lowering premiums and the payroll deductions for families and employees with children. One modification is that we will be charging a surcharge for individuals with children over 21. There's a 4% only increase instead of a 16 for EE and EE with spouse, employees only an employee with spouse. But overall, lower out-of-pocket was experienced for 73% of the group, versus with the current plan design even of 2016. So what we're going to cover is the changes that were made, and propose that any individual that is interested in seeing how these changes would actually affect their claims can work with us directly. So the $500 deductible is a lower deductible than our $1,000 deductible today. 50/50 is instead of 80/20, meaning that a greater percentage of coinsurance would be paid by the employee. So what's better, what's worse? A $500 deductible reduction or a 30% increase in coinsurance share? As it turns out, again, in over 70% of the group, we found that modeling out old claims, that this produced more claims being paid on behalf of the employee. So what we are proposing this year is, and have implemented, is a $500 deductible 50/50 plan for both Plan 1 and Plan 2. What we're going to cover is the payroll deductions for a family have actually gone down through this design, $473, $488, depending on Plan 1 or 2. Employee children see a huge savings at $793 reduction versus 804 reduction for Plan 2. So remember, Plan 1 is the larger network, Plan 2 is the smaller network, the BCE network, and we had also focused on the fact that a large number of doctors have come into that network now, as that number of doctor increases makes it more appetizing for more employees. So what we're proposing this year is simply a lower deductible, going to $500 versus $1,000, but maintaining the same out-of-pocket max at $3,000. So whether you have a baby under plan last year or this year, your amount of your share is going to come out to be the same. If you have an emergency room event, your out-of-pocket will actually be lower than it was last year because the deductible will come in earlier. If you have claims that are somewhere before the max but greater than the $1,000, it becomes a jump ball as to which plan is better. But on the study of all claims, this works out for the best of all individuals on average. Here's the important plus, though, with Plan 2 becoming more and more appealing, is that we've enhanced it to say that we're going to take a $500 deductible and treat everything to a deductible under Plan 1. It goes $500 deductible, 50% coinsurance, until you hit a maximum of $3,000. Under Plan 2, the drug and the doctor visits will not have to satisfy a deductible first. They'll just be paid immediately at 50/50. So the better value plan is starting to become Plan 2, not only because it's a lower payroll deduction, it's also because of the fact that it has basically a number of other features now that are beneficial. So in a world of what is the same, what's different, let's look at the actual plans. Plan 1, new benefit structure, still uses BCBS big network PPO, but under this model now there are no copays. Everything is either going to be a $0 deductible 100% because it's wellness, so all that goes still, just like always, 100% covered. Or if it's routine visits, we've added a new feature, which instead of even paying a copay, you'd have nothing to pay if you're using telephonic or what's called teledoc services, which has become wildly more popular in the last few years as patients who really just needed an antibiotic are able to interact with a doctor through a smartphone or a telephone and get a prescription sent to their pharmacy without ever having stepped foot into a doctor's office, where they are more likely to catch more germs. So this idea of teledoc has surged in great deal of popularity, especially among younger people who are used to using their phone for everything. This feature basically means you pay nothing to get a lot of the stuff that you'd be going to the doctor for. It doesn't work for major ongoing specialty care, but for, again, the vast majority of our employees, that's where a lot of the traffic was. Under Plan 1, everything else goes to a $500 deductible, one time per year, 3 per max family. So all prescriptions, all in-network doctor visits, everything basically buckets out to a $500 deductible, and then it pays 50-50. That Plan 2, the smaller network, does the same thing, paying 100% of wellness and the teledoc, but has an extra special feature that pays without a deductible prescriptions at 50-50 and all in-network doctor visits. Now, what is this like compared to a copay? If you're using generics, quite frankly, it's about the same thing for the fact that generic run anywhere from $3 to about $20. If you're paying half of that amount, you'd be paying $1.50 to $10. In the doctor world, doctor services after the discount for a primary care non-specialist in the Rockford region run anywhere from $50 to $70. So $25 to $35 would be on average what an individual would end up paying. Specialists can charge more, and of course at 50% that will come out higher. But with all those items being covered right off the bat, the things that do go to the $500 deductible would be your typical emergency room services, but they pay faster at a $500 than waiting for the $1,000 to kick in. Again, same maximum out of pocket means that individuals with serious conditions, it wouldn't make a difference which plan we had. In the end, you're going to hit your maximum $3,000, and it would be the same position. If you have any questions regarding your family's claims and your fit under either of these plans, or even a question on the doctors as to whether your doctors would be available under BCE or not, you can email dayteam@secureenroll.com. If you specify the doctors by name, town, and even better, address, we can research and respond back to you. Or call 630-756-1169. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.